is here, and if you're wondering what astrological transits you can expect in this month, then stay tuned because I have all the information you're going to need. Hi, I'm Mercedes and welcome to Language of the Ether. In this channel, I aim to make valuable sidereal astrology content that brings insight, clarity, and catharsis, especially for the benefit of Black, queer, trans, disabled, and COVID-conscious young adults that are navigating the world as it is. Timestamps are below if there's any particular transit you're most interested in hearing about. I gathered the information for this forecast from generating an ephemeris on astro.com, using the moon phase times on moongiant.com, and using the aspect search engine on astroseek.com. Here's a calendar of the major transits you could expect to occur this month in April. Our first major transit is on April 1st, where Venus moves into Pisces. Then on Tuesday, we have the third quarter moon between Sun in Pisces and Moon in Sagittarius. Then Mercury stations retrograde in Aries. The next big event, and probably the biggest event in the entire month, is a new Moon Solar Eclipse in Pisces. On the 10th, Mercury moves right back into Pisces, and Saturn in Aquarius conjuncts with Mars in Aquarius. On the 11th, Mercury in Pisces conjuncts with Sun in Pisces. And on the 14th, Sun actually moves into Aries. On the very next day, Sun squares Cancer, which makes a first quarter moon. On the 19th, Venus conjuncts retrograde Mercury, and Jupiter in Aries sextiles Mars in Aquarius. On the 23rd, you can expect for there to be a full moon in Libra. On the 24th, Mars moves into Pisces. On the 25th, Venus moves into Aries. And on the 26th, Mercury stations direct again in Pisces. So what do these transits mean? Venus in Pisces, finding companionship with people that confirm what our instincts are telling us. We can expect a time where we're only building and prioritizing connections that confirm our intuition and confirm what our instincts are telling us or what our gut feeling is telling us. We're navigating our relationships with our gut instincts, with what may not be obvious on the surface. This may be a time where everyone's making inferences and judgments based on their gut feelings and based on their intuition. We're prioritizing relationships that may have more than meets the eye and navigating connections, companionships, and negotiations through our gut feelings. On the flip side, where those sound nice and good, this may be a time where we're preserving relationships with people that are skeptical or preserving relationships with people that are suspicious. So a lot of issues with trust, a lot of issues with suspicion and skepticism within our friendships, within the people that we keep close. So absolutely practice discernment within the people you're close to, but also make sure to ask questions. Don't go around making assumptions about the people that you're close to because that's an easy way to destroy friendships. With the third quarter moon with Sun in Pisces, square moon in Sagittarius, this is a time where we're focusing on what things are implying and facing tension for it because the belief systems and convictions that we have conflict with those perceptions. We're perceiving things to look like they're just omitting information or they're just lying to us, they're just leaving out information, but deep down we're feeling, but do I really believe this though? It may look like that, it may look off, but like, that can't really be it. That's not what I believe, that's not what I know of this person or the situation. It may be a very conflicting time that challenges us to try to be sincere in our interactions and to trust that maybe other people are being sincere too. Not everyone is out to get us. This third quarter moon is about the story we're telling ourselves about the way the world works, forces us to make sacrifices and let go of suspicions that have been consuming our minds. It's a major turning point in the way we handle things that aren't what they seem, through being impacted by another person's sincerity, or through being impacted by another person's story or a lesson. We're confronting and breaking old habits and patterns around seeing everything as something with an ulterior motive by responding with or being affected by sincerity. For some of us, this may be unexpected endings due to proselytizing and zealotry that change the way we look at the meaning of what's happening beyond the surface. Mercury in Aries stationing retrograde. Since Mercury represents the press and the news and the media, this could be a time where we're reflecting on the ways that the press and the news and the media have abandoned us or have been using their resources as a way to get us to abandon each other. This retrograde period with Mercury in Aries is a time where we're revisiting conversations about neglect and abandonment. We're revisiting conversations about abuse of power. We're revisiting conversations that have been brushed under the rug. Heavily on the conversations that have been brushed under the rug, and I would probably attribute that to the pandemic. Conversations, revisiting conversations and returning to conversations that are trying to be brushed under the rug that people that we're close to may be trying to brush under the rug because they just want to move on from the pandemic. No, this is a time where we're revisiting those conversations, we're rethinking them, and we're returning to them and approaching them. Stand 10 toes deep on it. Come on. This is Aries we're talking about. This is Aries we're talking about. We are standing 10 toes deep in the conversation, we're returning to it and talking about the way we've been abandoned and the way that we need to step up and take action. Take action in a way that actually makes use of our strength and abilities in ways that are constructive and not destructive. This is a time where we're visiting conversations with an assertive or a bold or maybe an aggressive tone. We're reconsidering the language we use to talk about our abilities. We're reconsidering the way we communicate with our abilities. Again, conversations about abandonment resurfacing. New Moon Eclipse in Pisces. Setting new intentions that significantly honors our intuition. A significant turning point in the way we perceive what it means to have a gut feeling. This day may be a day where something significant and something major happens that really gets us to believe that I need to really start sitting down and start really thinking about the way that, there's more to this going on than I may have believed before. This new moon solar eclipse in Pisces is an impactful experience that sets the trajectory for finding meaning and understanding in what may not be obvious. It's an impactful experience that significantly alters the way we respond to our intuition. An impactful experience that alters the way we look at things that aren't what they seem. I say a big example of this is AI. AI has been a huge thing that's been developing the past few years, and it's only been getting better and better and better at deceiving people's eyes. Like just the other day, just a couple of days ago, I really sincerely believe I was looking at an image of a bat, but it really wasn't a bat. I thought it was a bat on this, I think it was a tree with like pink flowers, and it wasn't until like the next day when I went back to look at that image that I saw in the comments that that's AI. I don't see a lot of pictures about bats. I'm not all that too familiar about bats, so I don't have the well-trained eye of someone that knows what bats look like and the way that their wings fold, but someone that was able to tell the difference was able to clock it, and I felt embarrassed that I wasn't able to tell that. I felt embarrassed that I wasn't able to tell that because, holy crap, you're telling me that was probably the first time I ever actually wasn't able to tell something was AI, because up until then, I've been able to see, there's an extra finger, something looks weird, like that looks a little morphed and the background looks a little bit not as detailed as it would be in a photo or an art piece. But no, these Pisces Virgo eclipses are going to be pointing to the ways we're seeing more and more AI and more deception with AI. With Pisces specifically, it's about knowing something's off, but not really being able to tell what exactly it is specifically. Feeling something's off, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's not obvious. Virgo, it's like, it walks like a dog, talks like a dog, then it must be a dog. But sometimes Virgo, it's not a dog. It's AI. It's fake. It's just made up. And I feel like this Pisces eclipse is a new significant turning point in the way we make judgments, the way we're making judgments about what things are and how things aren't what they seem. Next, we have Mercury Retrograde moving back into Pisces. So we're revisiting the conversations that have left us feeling skeptical and suspicious. What has been going on in the past couple months that have just been brushed under the rug or delayed because there's just not enough information yet, or there's just not enough time to address it yet. What has been going on that you still feel off about, or you still feel suspicious about, or you may not even be wanting to know more about it, but you may have already made up your mind that, nope, that's us, I'm not interested. But this retrograde is revisiting or reconsidering or bringing us back into that, sitting in that feeling of suspicion, sitting in that skepticism, and finding time to think about that and talk about that. Because this entire month of April is going to be a lot of Pisces. So when we're moving back into Mercury in Pisces, Mercury retrograde in Pisces, we're revisiting conversations where important details were left off. We're revisiting conversations where we left off with information that could be implying anything. We're revisiting conversations where, as a result of it just being left off the way it was, it's left a lot of room to read between the lines and to assume anything. We're reconsidering the language used in conversations that have left you feeling skeptical and suspicious. Revisiting conversations that have left you with a lot of assumptions due to lack of information and important details. And hopefully resolving all of these miscommunications. Hopefully resolving all of these confusions. Ask questions. Be curious. Try to avoid, because this is going to be a time where it's really easy to jump to conclusions. It's going to be a time where it's really easy to make assumptions and assume the worst. Absolutely have discernment, but be careful with making assumptions based off of little information all the time with everything. Because that could destroy relationships, that could destroy communities, that could destroy movements. So be discerning, yes, but give the benefit of the doubt sometimes. Show that you are wanting to know and wanting to resolve things. Sun in Aquarius conjunct Mars in Aquarius. Having enough distance from the gaze of others that grants you space to take control of how you self-determine, while concentrating on how it closely connects to the way that we're driven to determine a new name and identity for ourselves. Those that create limits and those that seek to exercise their autonomy are one and the same, and they join forces towards self-determining and imagining a new reality. Setting limits on language, concepts, and ideas in a way that morphs the way we perceive what's possible, and acting according to those limits. The same people that are creating limits around language, concepts, and ideas are the same people weaponizing their invisibility. The same people that are creating limits around language, concepts, and ideas are the same people weaponizing their invisibility. They know no one's looking at them. There are people that know no one is looking at them and that no one can see them. And they're weaponizing their invisibility. They're weaponizing their attention, their ability to just disregard and look away, their ability to just not pay attention and pretend like you don't exist. Saturn in Aquarius conjunct Mars in Aquarius, I'll be honest, sounds a very dangerous transit to me, a very dangerous time to me, because it feels like just invisibility and control being weaponized. Invisibility and force creating laws that intend to strip away people's right to self-determine, that strip away people's right to fight for their right to self-determine. And I don't know what to say about that, because it's real. It's real. The same people that are creating limits around language, concepts, and ideas are the same people weaponize who they self-determine to be. Their identity that they believe themselves to be, that they parrot themselves to be, they are using that as a weapon and believing that that is what makes them powerful. that is what makes them stronger and better and more worthy of being alive than anyone else. Keep your protections up. Keep your spiritual protections up. That's all I really have to say about this transit. So Sun in Pisces conjunct Mercury retrograde in Pisces. We're articulating how past conversations about that suspicion are still relevant now. We're feeling out for the best language that closely articulates what you see. Mercury in Pisces is about feeling out what's the right words to say, using your judgment, using your gut, feeling out for the right words to say, and using your judgment to feel out the best approximate language that translates what's been taking up and consuming your mind. What's been consuming your mind? What's been consuming your attention? This is a time where you're concentrating on what the best words could be to articulate. What may be difficult to translate, but finding a way. Be it through symbolism, be it through art, be it through poetry, music. Finding a way to communicate what you're feeling and what you are noticing. Returning to where was left off to address what suspicious activity has been pulling your attention. Returning to where was left off to address the elephant in the room. Addressing the elephant in the room. Addressing the fact that something's off, no one's talking about it. Yeah. It's time to talk about it. It's time to talk about it. And I'm not one to try to give false hope, so take this with a grain of salt, COVID cautious folks. I feel like this conjunction might be what we need to finally get people to listen, to finally get people to look at things beyond the surface, to really take a minute to realize shit's been suspicious. Shit's been weird. It's been weird. So topics around communicating what your gut is telling you and realizing how they're closely related to how this has been taking up your mind. This has been taking up the fact that the pandemic's been neglected and brushed under the rug. That's been taking up my mind. That's been taking up the mind of so many COVID cautious people. So cross your fingers, this is a chance that we could actually get somewhere, because we need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this. Articulating what's been on our minds about the elephant in the room. The Sun is authority figures, Mercury is the press. This conjunction is them teaming up. They're one and the same. We're seeing clearly how they're one and the same and that they're suspicious. They're omitting important details. They work in tandem. Authority figures and the press work in tandem to omit important information and gaslight the public, creating an air of suspicion. Like they always do, but this time it's really gonna hit. This time this conjunction is really gonna hit. Like, don't know what's gonna happen, but it's seeming like, okay, we're noticing a high concentration of skepticalness going on there. Sun in Aries, focusing on what allows you to control through your strength and willpower, finding the ability to pull our attention away from what makes us suspicious to what makes us stronger, focusing on the ability to do and the will to just do it. Sun is exalted in Aries, so focusing on a vision and having the will to just do it and pursue it, finding the ability to pull towards what's abandoned us as well. We've been abandoned. Let's focus on that. Let's make some good use with this Aries, because Aries has been very disappointing to me lately. I expected more from Jupiter in Aries, but it's been, in regards to the COVID cautious community, Aries has really let us down. Aries has really let us down. So I am trying to put some good energy out there and hope that it'll bring us some insight onto the ways we, as a collective, have been abandoned. I've been abandoned takes up our attention, and I need to take action because no one else will also takes up our attention. no matter how exhausting and taxing. And I see that as the protests against the mess happening overseas. Focusing on what fuels our willpower, focusing on our goal for freedom, and dedicating our time and energy to that, dedicating our time and energy to that vision, no matter how exhausting and toilsome it could be. Jupiter in Aries has been that fuel and that conviction and that overarching story, that overarching narrative that we have to keep going, that we have to keep fighting. And the sun coming into the picture is really bringing that concentration. Like, if people haven't been concentrating enough before, they're concentrating now with Sun in Aries. If they weren't concentrating before, they'll be concentrating when Sun's in Aries. They will be seeing it, looking it right in the eye, the thing, the person, the organization, the company, the government that has abandoned them. Sun in Aries is also perceiving everything as competition, perceiving everything as an opportunity to exercise your abilities, perceiving everything as an opportunity to exercise your freedom and willpower, perceiving everything as an opportunity to seize the moment, perceiving everything as a challenge to overcome. Everything is something to overcome, everything is something to fight, everything is something to punch a wall through and get to the other side, to accomplish because you have to, because nobody else will, because those in power won't, so we need to come in solidarity and get through it and get through this together. So the very next day after Sun enters Aries, we have Moon in Cancer squaring and making a first quarter moon. First quarter moon between Sun in Aries and Moon in Cancer, a major turning point in the way we respond to our bodies, while keeping in mind that we have work to do. A major turning point in the way we answer to our bodily needs, while keeping in mind that we can't rely on those in power to meet our needs. We just can't. They've made it explicitly clear that they do not give a crap about us. So we need to just find a way. There may be tension between the need to respond to our bodies, our need to respond to our need to just rest, to take a break. Sun in Aries is not the time. Sun in Aries is perceiving the things that are mandatory to work on now. There are things that need to be done now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not maybe after you take a nap. We need to get shit done. And Cancer's moon says, I'm tired though. I've had enough of this running. The ways that the bodily functions and their needs conflict with our ambitions. Putting stress on the body by just thinking of the ways we need to take action. This may be a time that's very triggering for people that have Cancer and Aries, but it may be a rough time for people that have Cancer because it's like Aries saying, I don't give a fuck. Get up. Stand up. Expecting for our needs to be met, conflicting with the fact that no one is around. That's stressful. That's triggering. A time to acknowledge that, and a time to address that and make changes, grow from this understanding. Like, all this happening in this first quarter moon is pushing for growth. It's a chance to grow from it. It's a chance to grow from that realization that sometimes we just have to get up and do it. Sometimes there aren't people around. Sometimes we need to figure out ways, figure out methods to try to meet ourselves in the middle, meet our body in the middle, meet our will at the middle. Wanting to be responded to, attuned to, but experiencing stress for it because that would mean you need to get up and do it yourself. Feeling pressure to deprioritize rest for the sake of maintaining an idea in your mind that if you really wanted to get it done, you would just do it yourself. Feeling pressure to not rest and keep the work grind, keep up the work grind, keep up the work grind, keep up the work grind. Because it's taking up your mind that you need to take action now. Perceiving everything as an opportunity to take action challenges the desire to take a break, drink some water, and essentially listen to your body. perceiving how it seemed like nobody else is doing what needs to be done and needing to make hard decisions that challenge your desire to fall back and wait for someone else to take care of it. So this first quarter moon is forcing us to make hard decisions. And I'm not saying it has to be one or the other, but find a way to meet your needs and stay committed to your goals and to your ambitions and what is most important to you. Venus in Pisces conjunct Mercury retrograde in Pisces, returning to where was left off to address the suspicious activity happening in our social circles and the relationships that we keep close. Using your judgment to feel out the best approximate language that translates your gut feelings about your friendships and connections. Using your intuition to find the best way to communicate the judgments and inferences about your friendships and connections that your gut is telling you. It could be the press, the news, and the media working in tandem with those that preserve the status quo to revisit conversations that left us with a lot of assumptions based on little information. To be quite honest, they just might end up sharing even more suspicious information. They might end up sharing even more suspicious information, but this is a time where it's like, ooh, pretty glittery, shiny media, a new music video, a new movie, a new song. But it's also like making us think, like, is this really what it seems like it's supposed to be? Or is it just something else in disguise? This conjunction is us reconsidering how much is safe to share around people that are suspicious. Reconsidering if we should communicate about our intuition with people that are skeptical and suspicious. Navigating relationships we prioritize while understanding there's more than meets the eye and there are things that are best left unsaid. It could be a time where we're using aesthetics as a way to communicate our intuition. We're using aesthetic symbolism to convey our gut feelings. If there is art to come out of this conjunction, if there is art to come out of this time with this transit, it could be art that does symbolize what needs to be said, but in subtle ways that aren't so outright, because it might be unsafe to be outright and straightforward. But the art and the way we're communicating about what our gut feelings are telling us, the way we're communicating is through like aesthetic means, because Venus is aesthetic, so through means that are creative, through means that are pleasant to the eye or to the senses. It could be the media, press, and news leaving out data, details, important information in ways that preserves the unaddressed elephant in the room. Them not addressing the elephant in the room and making it attractive, and making doing that attractive and endearing in some way. Like needing to be discerning about the images, the aesthetics that we see, the use of technology to create aesthetics that are so wow, but we need to be discerning because not all things are what meets the eye. Jupiter in Aries, Sextile Mars in Aquarius. Weaponizing your invisibility as an act of solidarity with those that are pushing the narrative that we should be living as every man for himself. In the beginning of March, Jupiter had made a sextile with the other planet, and that was the exact day that it was all over the news that the CDC was shortening the days to self-isolate from 5 to basically none. Jupiter in Aries has really shown us the ways that it has become an ongoing, repetitive narrative. That those that are writing history, that those that are telling the story of us, like I feel like Jupiter is the press too. Jupiter is the press too, and Jupiter is making it clear to us that we are really on our own. We've been abandoned. So any planet that sextiles Jupiter, that supports that narrative and that supports that belief, sounds dangerous to me. This, I'm gonna be so honest, this just sounds like a transit where we will see even more doubling down with us being abandoned. These people are weaponizing their invisibility, the fact that we can't see, the fact that we don't have names, the fact that we don't know who it is, weaponizing that as an act of solidarity with those that are pushing the narrative that we should be living as every man for himself. Your actions and your labor, the actions and the labor of the COVID cautious people, the COVID cautious community, just being invisibilized. Like, trust me, they know what we've been working on. They know that it coordinates well with the overarching narrative that we're on our own and that there's no one to help us. They want us to think that. Absolutely not. Let this time be a time where we're driven to self-determine as an act of solidarity with those that believe in and uphold the narrative of working hard towards our freedom, working hard towards something better than this. The sextile could also be a time where we recognize that fighting for our ability to create new language, new words, new names, new pronouns, new concepts, etc., complements the overarching narrative that we have work to do, revolutionary work to do. Let that sink in. And do not lose hope. This is a time where we're being determined to exist out of anyone's gaze and perceptions while collaborating in solidarity with the relentless freedom fighters that consumes the atmosphere and make history. Those that are fighting for Palestine, those that are fighting for Gaza, those that are fighting for COVID precautions and pandemic solidarity, those that are fighting for trans rights, so those that are fighting for the lives and the protection of Black people, those that are fighting for the Congo, for Haiti, for Yemen, for Sudan. It consumes the atmosphere. We are consuming the atmosphere. We are making history. It may not seem like it, but this is really big. Everything that's happening is huge. Stay true to it. Full moon in Libra over Sun in Aries. Seeing clearly the ways we've been coerced into relationships that are suspicious. Seeing clearly the ways that being strategic allows for more intuitive relationships. Seeing clearly the ways we can negotiate for keeping important details and information hidden within relationships we keep close. And I say these things about relationships that are suspicious, relationships that are hiding information, like all of these stuff about intuition and seeing things beyond the surface because of the fact that Venus is in Pisces right now. So this full moon is answering to Venus in Pisces. We're reaching a peak in amount of energy and focus that we have to be strategic in relationships that are committed to making assumptions based off of very little information. Reaching a peak amount of energy and resources and ability and capacity to rationalize relationship dynamics that are committed to leaving out information due to mistrust and suspicion, or due to trying to create a narrative of and create an atmosphere of suspicion and skepticism. This is a time where we're reaching, at this point of the moon phase, this would be the most light that the moon would be in front of the constellation Libra. So this is the most capacity that we have to commit to relationships that are prioritizing withholding information and being skeptical and creating this air of suspicion and just toxicity. Don't let yourself be coerced into that. Let this realization on this full moon make it clear that it is time to be discerning. Seeing clearly the toll getting along for the sake of getting along has on our ability to be discerning about what relationships we should prioritize and who's good for us to connect with. It takes a toll on us to just connect with people just for the sake of it, even if they're harmful to us. Let's do better. Let's try to use our better judgment around picking and choosing what people we connect with or what relationships we preserve. Because at the end of the day, Venus is about preservation. So if we're preserving relationships, let the relationships that we're preserving be relationships that are healthy for us and aren't toxic and aren't moving us towards a mindset that has us feeling so much doubt about our ability to make better judgments. If you're in a relationship where you're being gaslit, where you're being misled and manipulated consistently and persistently, take care of yourself. Find people that you could talk to that could help you out of that situation. Find the resources and the people and the community that you could turn to and talk to about this, so you could leave that situation safely, that you could leave that friendship safely. Do not let anybody coerce you into staying in a situation that is making you question your own perception, making you question your own ability to make sound judgments. This time could also be a time where we're seeing clearly the outcome of reconciling with people that confirm what our instincts are telling us. We're realizing the outcome of choosing to stay connected with people, even if there's very little reason to. If there are relationships with people that you may not know all the information about, but you do feel in your gut that, okay, this is good for me, this is a good community to stick with, this is a good person that I want to be friends with, this is someone that I feel is right for me to connect with, then yes, definitely use the benefit of the doubt and wait to see the result of that patience. Wait to see how those relationships will last in the long run. There are absolutely relationships that are worth the time and are worth the effort and are worth the thinking 1,000 steps ahead for. You just gotta be patient. You just gotta wait and see, and to be curious and to ask questions. So we're realizing the outcome of choosing to stay connected and giving the benefit of the doubt within those relationships that you prioritize. Mars moving into Pisces, setting physical and emotional boundaries based on our gut feelings. We're taking actions based on our gut feelings, making moves based on, does it feel right? Is this feeling right? What does my judgment say? What does my body say? How does this feel? How does the situation feel like? It could be a time where we're breaking free from a suspicious atmosphere, dedicating energy towards making sense of what's not said, severing as a way to honor your intuition, severing as a way to honor your gut feelings, reading between the lines of people's rudeness, because Mars is rudeness, so reading that between the lines of that. Maybe people are being passive aggressive and not really saying what they fully mean. Time to use our judgment, and is that worth it? What's the next one? What's the next one? This could be a time where people are being excluded for having skepticism or for having assumptions based off of little information. Sometimes there just is little information though. No one should be excluded for that. But sometimes people are like, well, it's right there. It's obvious, isn't it? Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. Being determined to understand what's implied beyond the obvious. Being determined to always read between the lines. Conflict arising due to suspicions around omitted information. Conflict arising due to making assumptions about things and people based off of very little information. Conflict arising due to lack of discernment on what things mean beyond the surface. Venus in Aries. Connecting with people that bring out your strength and willpower. Prioritizing relationships with people that make you feel like you can do something. Prioritizing relationships with people that make you feel like, you know what? Yeah, I got this. I can do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done, and I feel motivated and I feel more ambitious because I'm connecting with insert person. The ability to connect with people and the will to just do it, and the will to just connect, and the will to just make friends, to make friends with people that make you feel fired up and ready to get things done. This may be a time where it may seem like every relationship is an opportunity to exercise your freedom and willpower. Every relationship is an opportunity to seize the moment. On the flip side, this could be preserving relationship dynamics that are controlling and aggressive. Be careful about that. If there are people that are controlling and aggressive, let's be mindful. Who are we connecting with? This could be tumultuous relationships, relationship dynamics that have a pattern of abandoning or abusing power dynamics. Look out for people that, use control and aggression as a way to control relationships and maintain their power over other people. Look out for people that may feel more emboldened in this time to be aggressive and not use any actual communication or actual healthy ways to preserve relationships, but may feel more emboldened to take up space in ways that just aren't healthy, that just are not healthy or good for your spirit. It's not worth it. Do not prioritize relationships like that. We could address relationships that have been abandoned. We can address relationships that have patterns of abandonment. Address it and process it. There's maybe a time where we just need to process that, those dynamics that feel like just power imbalance galore. Like addressing that and talking about it and processing it and doing what needs to be done to heal from that abandonment. Sometimes it's okay to abandon relationships. It's okay to abandon relationships that are treating you like an object to control, an object to coerce and control and to get you to do what they want and being manipulative about it too. Like, not worth it. Jump ship. It's okay. This may be a time where we're experiencing abandonment in relationships, but it is also permission for you to abandon relationships too that are unhealthy and toxic, because you do not need to stay there. You don't have to stay. But if you want to, make sure that both parties or all parties involved are equally involved in trying to take care of this relationship and take care of each other and treat each other like people and not as objects to control. It could be making connections that serve your ambitions, making connections that allow you to be assertive, using assertiveness to preserve relationships. And I mean that as in like being assertive as a way to have healthy dynamics, because you gotta speak up for yourself sometimes. You gotta defend yourself sometimes. You gotta stand up for yourself sometimes. And that could lead to a healthier relationship because you're standing up for yourself. Because you're standing up for and taking action in ways that honor your own autonomy and honor that, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I don't feel like doing that, or no, I don't feel like it today. Being assertive as a way to connect in healthier ways. It could be a time where we may feel determined to connect with creatives, determined to connect with artists and musicians and trendsetters. This may be a time where there are trailblazing trendsetters on the rise. With Aries being a very trailblazing sign, and Venus is like trends, so like combine the two, we might end up seeing a lot of trends, new trends, a lot more trailblazing trendsetters that are here to create a new status quo, and create a new aesthetic, a new trend, a new thing that gets people interested in participating and wanting to do something a little different. So again, preserving relationships with trailblazers, connecting with people that are hardworking, reconciling with people that are hardworking, bold, aggressive, assertive, ambitious, relentless, connecting with people that bring out your own boldness, aggressiveness, assertiveness, ambitions, and relentlessness, prioritizing relationships that bring out your own sense of determination. So maybe a time where you're connecting with people or finding people that are Aries-like and or have sort of like Mars-like traits, and they bring that out of you. This transit may bring out people relevant to your Aries house, of course, that bring out these qualities that you have the capacity for. Whether or not you have Aries placements, we all have an Aries house. These are qualities that you're capable of too. And this transit is going to bring that up, bring out that Mars, activating your Mars. The very last major transit that we could expect this April is Mercury in Pisces, stationing direct. We're not moving backwards anymore. Now, making a U-turn back forward. We're moving forward with certainty on how to communicate about the intangible. Moving forward with certainty that there's more to the story than meets the eye within the media and the press and the news. We're moving forward with discernment around communications. Moving forward from conversations that left us feeling skeptical and suspicious. Moving forward with better language on how to communicate our skepticism and suspicions. Moving forward from conversations where important details were left out. So those same conversations where we're moving into with this retrograde period to address and reconsider and revisit. Once Mercury in Pisces stations direct, we're moving forward from that. Moving on from conversations around or that involve gaslighting, omitted information, etc. Like, if there is any conversations within this month that may not go well because it just results in more gaslighting or more omitting information or more skepticism, I hope you can expect Mercury stationing direct to be a time where you could move on from that. You don't need to deal with that anymore. You've tried your best. Thank yourself for that. Now let's move on. Sometimes people are gonna lie. Sometimes people are just gonna leave out information just because that's just what they do. There are people that are just habitual liars. We cannot expect people to be 100% wholly trustworthy saints. Like, we gotta use our own judgment. We have to use our own judgment and gut feeling and intuition, because sometimes that's all we have left. With that, we could recognize that, okay, I don't feel good in this, time to move on. We don't need to have more conversations. So I think Mercury stationing direct may be that recognizing that, yeah, time to stop returning to this. We've returned to this enough, we've revisited this enough, we've reconsidered things enough, time to move on. No more gaslighting, no more endless, empty conversations that are just throwing us in a loop. We can move on. Permission to move on. This is also a time when we're moving forward with certainty on how to interpret what things are implying beyond the surface. And also, back to the AI thing, I feel like this will be a time where we're moving forward with certainty on how to better understand the difference between AI art and photos and real art and photos. We're moving forward with technology that helps us figure out the difference and help us discern the difference. We'll be moving on with that feeling of being left in the dark about, okay, is this AI or not? With actual tools, just think Mercury with like tools and technology, we might finally move on. Mercury stationing direct in Pisces might actually give us something that would actually help with that lack of certainty. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking that sounds more Virgo, but I'm thinking it more in the sense of tools that communicate or translate what things are beyond the surface, or whether or not something is what it looks like or not. And essentially, we'll be moving forward with data and information that represents those major topics about discernment and around things that aren't what they seem. Final statements that I have about what we could expect this month is, major point, the new moon eclipse in Pisces, and the fact that we have a lot of Pisces transits this month. So this month is going to be really activating our Pisces house, really activating our Jupiter and our capacity to discern using our judgment, using our intuition and our gut feeling. Like, this month is a time where we're really being pushed to use our gut feeling, because that's what we really have right now. That's what we've been pushed to have to use, because everything seems to be off and everything seems to be either omitting information, either straight up lies. It's just making it really hard to know what's the truth and what's really happening. And also, while this is a time where it's very easy to have to do that, make sure you're being curious too. Give the benefit of the doubt, because this month is a time where it'll be very easy to assume that someone is hiding somewhere, someone isn't giving the full story. The COVID community, the pandemic solidarity community, those that are fighting for freedom, those that are coming in solidarity to create and reimagine a better world where we could self-determine, a better world where we could create something better than capitalism and patriarchy and whiteness. We have to come together and not let petty bullcrap and not let constructed lies come between us and destroy communities. Community is all we have right now. Community and our gut feeling and our intuition is all we have right now, and we need to be discerning and wise about this in order for things to last, in order for things to be sustainable. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much. Make sure to like the video and comment below to let me know what transits on your mind the most. And also, please share the video. Share it with those that you know would appreciate it, those that you know that would appreciate the insight. Please subscribe, and you can follow me on my Substack, and you can follow me on my Instagram, where I'll be sharing even more sidereal astrology insights and wisdom. And if you'd like an in-depth interpretation on how these transits are affecting you personally, you can book a reading with me through my 𝘼𝙘𝙘𝙚𝙾. Link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.